Hello, good evening, everyone, wherever you're tuning in from. This is Gifty Annie, your host for the Intentional Beacon podcast. It is a platform where we shine light on the power of intentionality and being authentic in other words, being authentic and staying true to your mission wherever you've been called with grace. And this is a platform where our guests are invited to share their unique stories about how they've navigated life challenges with clarity and purpose, and also to make a difference. Challenges are part of life, which can either break us or build us. So it is an opportunity for our guests to share how they have actually broke through life difficulties and still shining, hence the Intentional Beacon podcast. So today, I'm not only delighted, but I'm honored to have my own adopted sister, Nana Ama Asubonteng, and it's very close to us, and she's more or less part of the family. That is why I use the word adopted sister. And I'm talking to her from Ghana, and so I'm going to give her the opportunity to introduce herself to you as our audience and as our listeners. So, Nana Ama, it is a pleasure to have you on this platform, and you are very much welcome. So, please introduce yourself to our audience as a person, how you want them to know you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Auntie Gifty. I'm also privileged and honored, as you said, of coming on to the International Beacon podcast. And as you mentioned, so that my life story and my journey could have an impact on someone else. Thank you so much. I'm Mrs. Nana Ama Asubonteng, 54 years old. I'm a chartered accountant, and I have 4 kids, and I am a widow. I think basically that is me for now.
Thank you so much for being so transparent with us. And so already you mentioned you are not only a mother, you have 4 children, and you're also a chartered accountant. Wow. And unfortunately, you've lost a very dear husband not long ago. And so I'm already aware of that. And so our sympathy, our prayers are with the family, as you know, as usual. It is a difficult period, but knowing you've come this far because of something special in your life. Personally, I know it is because of your faith. So thank you for this honor that you've given to us. And I'm sure our listeners will resonate. Some of them will resonate with you, not only as a woman, but also as a professional woman that seems to be juggling so much and dealing with family issues and professional issues. Thank you so much. I would like you to give us an idea or what inspired you to follow that career pathway, a chartered accountant. That is amazing.
Thank you, Auntie Gifty. Well, when I was in school at that time, we attended the secondary school days. It's now a senior high. We went to the ordinary level, which was from 1 to 5, and then the advanced level, which was also 2 years. Honestly, I would say that I was a little brilliant and above average student. And so I was a mastery in physics and chemistry. But I didn't like biology too much because of the big English terms. I didn't appreciate it. And because I noticed that I have a good math background. So all the math subjects I could conquer easy.
Wow.
It was around Form 3 that the teachers wanted us to pick a course that we wanted to do. So honestly, the teachers really wanted me to be a science student because I was good in physics, chemistry, and biology above average. They even invited my father to the school to convince me to take the science career. I said, no, I don't have any passion for science. But then I realized that I was so good in accounting. Out of the 120 students at the time, I topped accounting in our school. So I realized that, okay, at that time, I didn't know any of my family members who had taken accounts. I didn't know anything. But because I was first in the subject, and then I was a master also in it. So I decided, okay, let me pursue this further. It was then that the teacher, my lecturer at the time, told me that, okay, if you get to this account, you can move forward with it. You can be a chartered accountant. You can be a finance manager. I said, okay. Then I think I'll stick to this course. I'll stick to this course. The main aim was because I was mastering in it. So I decided to pick up the accounting course. And then true to it, when I finished the advanced level, I got University of Ghana. But unfortunately, my maths couldn't help me to do business school. So they gave me a social science course for my first degree. I really wanted to change. But so I went with my father to another lecturer to help me change so that I could pursue the business school. And the lecturer said, don't worry, if you don't get business school, you can start the professional straight away, the professional chartered accountant course straight away. And then you can blend it with the varsity program. And then at the end of the day, when you finish I finished my first degree, I would have also qualified the professional chartered accountants because my drive was to accountancy because of the love of the subject,
Wow.
which I did. So I realized that when I was doing the social science as first degree and the accountancy, I realized that these were two different areas, two extreme different areas. So what I did was I started the chartered accountant program earlier. And I said, okay, let me hold on that, finish my first degree, and then continue. So that is what I did. I put, because it was being a bit tedious combining both the first degree and the chartered accountancy course. So I put a hold on the chartered accountancy course and completed my first degree, and then went back to the chartered accountancy course because I knew that the flair for accounting was very high other than other subjects. So I knew that I have to pursue that to the latter. Yeah. So that was where yeah.
I think this is an awesome story, and very brave of you. When it comes to calculations, mathematics, those are the areas many people run away from. But what I hear you saying, you identify your passion quite early and was able to challenge, even though there was a bit of direction to deviate you from that. You stood on your ground, even at that early age, which is amazing. And that is awesome. That is awesome. But I mean, it sounds a very demanding profession, even as you were describing it with that huge name. And as a mother and as a wife and you know, a woman dealing with high power job like that, how did you blend in your professional commitment and also your personal family commitment to meet the needs of your family?
Thank you, Auntie Gifty. Yes, that was a difficult one because, as I mentioned, I started after the first degree, I got a job. So I continued with the professional course. And then along the line, I got married, as you said, I got married. And this course at our time when we were doing it, it was tedious. You need to learn, you need to go for classes, you need to do discussions. But because I had married, some of this I couldn't do much. So it took me a long time. This course normally take about 4 years, 4 to 5, maximum 6 years. You should be a qualified accountant after you finish with your first degree course. But it took me 12 years. And it was all because I had married. Because when I was going to marry, I remember one of my managers told me that, Nana, you've not finished this professional course. When you marry, it will be tedious. And I told him in my mind that why should I put a hold to it when I've gotten someone to marry because of my profession? No, I think I'll do both. And true to it, he was really telling me the truth. But I was determined.
Yeah.
I was determined to get it, to be a chartered accountant. In fact, a lot of my colleagues had to give up. Those who were in my shoes, who were part of what I was facing, that is family life, blended with family life and studies, they had to give up. But I persisted. As I said, I used 12 years to become a chartered accountant instead of 4 or 5 years. I used 12 years. I was damn persistent. I said, I will get to the bottom of it. I had to be a chartered accountant. So no matter what, and then how you could pursue this, you need an understanding husband. I remember those days when I had to go for classes. When I closed from work, I'll go for classes. I close from work around 5. I go for classes around 5:30 to 7:30. And my husband will wait for me. He would have closed from work. He would wait for me, pick me up 7:30. We'll come home. And when we come home, we'll get home around 10. And then he's prepared to take tea and bread and eat and sleep because it's a bit late. Your husband have to be understanding. Your spouse have to be understanding. If you don't get it, you lose out. So he was very, very understanding, much supportive, very, very supportive. So he held me through all those days. But even that, I remember Saturdays like this, I had to go for classes. He has taken tea and bread throughout the weekday. So definitely weekends, you need to give him his favorite. And his favorite was a local dish in Ghanaian. We call it fufu and soup.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so what I have to do is that on Fridays, after we get back at home around 10, I wouldn't sleep. I have to prepare some soup for him, put it in the fridge. And then I wake up at 4 a.m. and then pound the fufu and put it in the state that in the afternoon he can take it. And you can imagine, it wasn't easy, but I was determined. I was determined to push on. And then when the kids came to, what I had to do was, because the kids are there, my husband is there, and then I have to learn as well. I realized that no, that this has been too much for me. So I had to discuss with my mother so that he come and stay over and take over the kids. I mean, take over their supervision for me. Yes, and then later I had to get someone else also to assist in the cleaning. So you need to get understanding environment. But you need also to be determined to push on. So basically, that's how the journey went. Yeah.
That's amazing. It just reinforces the fact that whatever you want, you can achieve it with determination. Yeah. That's what I heard you say. You have to be intentional. You have to be also be clear and plan ahead because you knew your circumstances, and thankfully you had a companion, someone who understood you and also believed in your calling, believed in your passion, and supported you. It's not always easy in terms of relationship, unfortunately, many don't get it like that. But we thank God for a lovely husband who was there to show an example, because not only to you, but to family members, to the children, to the mother-in-law too. That is an amazing. Thanks for sharing this unique story about being intentional to stay true to your mission, irrespective of the length of time. I really appreciate that. It's an awesome story. And if a woman is listening, who wants to excel in their profession and also manage family commitment, is there any specific advice you can give? I've heard you say some of the factors: having a supportive partner or spouse, having understanding of your mission, and also be patient, and also being determined to do it with the right environment and with the right resources, in spite of the challenges that come with it. Um, is there any specific advice you could give to anybody who wants to? Because as a woman, very often I hear the word, you can't have it all. But I can see that whenever you are true to your mission and you want to be determined, nothing can stop you. You know, we all have our rightful places, but also we have our callings, and to make sure we don't have distraction. And thankfully, you did that. Is there any specific advice you could share with anybody listening to us and to your story so that they don't give up? It's words of encouragement.
Yes, thank you, Auntie Gifty. Yes. I will any woman who wants to go on with her career, I would advise that yes, you do that. It's very important. But in doing that, make sure that you have a good blend. You have a good blend with your family commitment, because that is also important. That is also important. As I mentioned, I remember there was some time with my career, I had to go to one other African country to be a consultant in the finance project. I took that option. I went for about a year, but I realized that no, at the time, my husband too was a magistrate. He has to move from one town in another, so was not at home. And we have left the case to the care of only my mother. And at times, my mother cannot even help with the homework. So I decided that no, this is not the best that I want for my kids. Although you need some finance to move on, but you have to, and especially when their father is not there, they need someone around. So I decided to talk with my employee and then come back home. And then I remember when I came back home, my son will say, Mommy, you know, when you came back home, now I'm first. But when you were not there, I was fourth within, I was almost last. And it touched me. Touched me to know that, yes, coming to support my family has really gone a long way. So I'll definitely say that, yes, get your career path, expand it, move on. But because we are women, you are committed to your family as well. Check, everybody have his own story, but make sure that you take a career, your career path does not exclude you too much from your family. That wouldn't be the best. That wouldn't be. Coin something that can blend very well. If you have to get support, maybe if you have to take them to school early. Nowadays in Ghana like this, people are taking their children to school around 6 months, 1 year, because you cannot rely on this house helps. You cannot rely on them, especially when they are alone with your kids. You don't know what they are doing to your kids, but at least you are comfortable when they are in a school. So a lot of people have opened schools and starting from kids of even 1 month old. If you need to carry on your career path, you can take some of these opportunities. Send your kids, get a school that is, you know, it's well prepared to cater for younger children and then babies, and take them there. Believe that you need an understanding husband. It's also a must. When your husband do not understand too much, you need to pray about it and make God let him understand why the essence is there for you to path your career. When you get an understanding husband and you're able to get people or schools to take care for your children, you know, you make sure that when you go to the offices, you let them know that your kids have been left in school, so you want to close a bit early. Everybody understand. Now in Ghana, most of the officers, yes, are doing work from home. So definitely, and then if you are not in Ghana or any other place in the world and you are listening, as I said, carry on, chart your career path, but ensure that you are able to blend well with your spouse and your family. It's very important. It's very important. Thank you.
I like that. I like the way, because very often we talk about getting the balance, but in everything, it's about blending and bringing harmony into the situation. And thank you for sharing and reinforcing that. And also, you did reinforce the fact that one has to know what is a priority. If you want to make families and have children, you have to make time to nurture these children, because they are dependent on both parents. And sometimes in this situation, you had a very supportive family partner, you had a supportive mother who could also come and join you. Even that, and the children appreciated that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I would also like us to briefly touch on the loss of this lovely dear one of you, and that is your husband. I think I met him briefly whilst being on holiday, but unfortunately, I didn't get to know him very much as I did with you. How have you? It's been a difficult period for you, and we can't underestimate that. But I still see you. If one looks at you, they may not even realize what you have gone through. How have you managed to cope and remain steadfast in the midst of this losing a very dear one? It's like part of you is gone. How have you managed, just briefly? Yeah.
Thank you, Auntie Gifty. I think my main source of hope has been from the Lord, has been my faith in God. That has really kept me. Because when I lost my husband, I lost him at home before even I went to the hospital. He virtually died in my arms. So I questioned God. God, why me? Why do you do this to me? Our kids are young. Why me? But later I understood God more day by day. And then I decided that he is the ultimate and he knows what he's doing. So he's done this, he knows why he has done that. So all I have to do is to put my trust in him and know that he is the husband of the widows and the father of the fatherless. So he will take care of us. I think that the main thing, aside when I put my faith in God, that has strengthened me a lot. That has strengthened me a lot. And then because I have my career, because I have my job, I've focused more on the job. I've put everything in me into looking after the kids and then working. That is my journey now, is working or taking after the kids. It's difficult. It's been difficult. It's been 4 years, 8 months since my husband passed. And quite a number of times I miss him. Quite a number of times I miss him. And it's now I've become the father and the mother as well. It's at times you see that the kids' school, you see, because of that, you have to take decisions alone. And some of them might not be what you would have liked, because I remember my boy wanted to attend medical school, but when we were filling the university forms, I said we should say that we will not pay school fees, because in my mind, I couldn't afford it. And because of that, my boy lost the chance of going to medical school. And that day I really wept. I wept because I said, if my husband has been there, we would have definitely take the form that we would pay. If he doesn't get regular, we'll pay his school fees. But because he's not there and I'm alone, and that's why I couldn't take. And then my boy had to lose medical. I wept bitterly that day. But after weeping for some time, it was even my boy, my son, who said, Mommy, don't you trust in the Lord? I said, I do. Then he said, wipe your tears. God is able. He knows why this has happened. Don't cry again. And because since then, I know that whatever happens, I need to put my trust in God. He's my hope. He has been my hope all these years. And I shouldn't let my faith wander. I mean, whatever it is, he knows why it has happened. And basically, that is what has kept me. That what has kept me. And you could see that even at this time that My husband is not there. You could see friends and family members who could give you gifts and things. And that one actually also helped us in so many ways. In so many ways. So God has been my pillar and anchor. Yeah.
Hallelujah. Thank you so much for sharing that powerful story. I'm just sitting here feeling, goosebumps, but I know and I believe that is truly your faith which has kept you, which has sustained you, which has strengthened you to redefine your role, as the mother, as the father, and as also the mentor of the children and helping them. And my hearts are with you and the family. And so thank you for sharing that. And if someone is watching who may be struggling with grieving and bereavement, do you have any words of encouragement? Because this is a powerful thing that one needs to hear. Unless you are in that situation, one may not fully understand. We may hear you, we hear your heart, but it's not a general experience. It's unique to your situation. Please shed one or two encouragement, because I think other women, other widowers, also men who have lost their spouse, also need to hear there's light at the end of the tunnel. But although everyone's journey is different.
Yes, thank you, Auntie Gifty. The advice I'll give is the paramount one is let's stick to God and pray to Him at all times. I think recently I made a choice. I have some landed properties. So I decided to sell one or two to have more cash flow for the kids' school. So I made that decision on my own. I told my kids that this is what I want to do. They said, okay, mommy, if that is what you want to do. I invited even people to come and have a look at it. But after a week or two, my pastor came to tell me that God is telling me that, why am I having negative thoughts? Why am I having negative thoughts? I haven't discussed with the pastor on anything, but he came to tell me, said I should pray. Why am I having negative thoughts? Why is it I don't trust him again? So when I went back home, I'm like, ooh, because my landed properties, when we acquired it, God actually told us that he has obtained that property for us. So if he has obtained it for us, I shouldn't sell it. But I thought, let me sell it, get some cash flow, so that because two of my children are in the university. And in Ghana, when your child is in the university, it's not easy. So I needed more backup. But God is telling me that no, he can fend for us. He can fend for us. So why am I going to do that? So immediately I went back and prayed to God and said, God, forgive me. Forgive me. And true to it, even just that day, just at that day, after that Sunday when I went home, my husband's friend called and he sent some money. And since then, cash flows here and there. And I give thanks to God. So all that I will advise my colleagues that are in my shoes, widows, widowers, that God is real and his words are real. And when you walk close with him, you'll be it'll be surprising for you. I have my husband friend who supports me with my kids' monthly income. I mean, they look after themselves. So when they go to school, every month you need to send them some money for their upkeep. My husband's friend does that for me. So and then as I said, this month he's been giving us some cash flows here and there. All that I would say that let's put our trust in God. There's nothing you can do. And especially if you don't have any work doing, then please try and get something to do. But if you're a pensioner, put your trust in God. If you're a pensioner, there's no way you can do any other work. If there's any side little jobs you can do, that's great. Add it up. And God will look after it. God will look after it. That's the best I can tell.
Wow. Thank you so much for the words of nuggets of wisdom and words of encouragement. I think we need to have a second time on this podcast because it's so much packed. information that will benefit our listeners and our audience. And I just want to say thank you so, so much for taking time out of your busy schedules just to, and I hope someone has been touched, not only been touched, but has been inspired, educated, and empowered, and to feel that they are not on their own. And so, thank you so much for joining me. I'm sure we'll have another opportunity to dive deeper into some of the challenges that you have, God has brought you through, sustain you, to encourage our listeners more.
No,
Thank
fine.
you for our listeners for tuning in to this moment, sharing this precious moment with Mrs. Nana Ama Asubonteng, chartered accountant and mother, a woman of faith who has stayed true to her calling in terms of her profession, and family commitment, and also had to redefine her role as a mother, as a father, to meet her children's needs, 4 children. Wow, I think you need an award. And we'll make sure that happens. We thank God also for being with you and continually being with you at this during the most difficult period. Thank you so much. So for our listeners, until we meet again, keep on shining as beacons. Thank you so much. God bless.